To be moving around and to be engaging all of your senses really helps with the creative process.
You could learn more in a 3-hour experience outside than 3 months in the classroom.
Usually you have to look up to see them, but then you get to look down and you can see like every needle.
Canopy Connections is a project that is designed to take middle school students up into the canopy of an old-growth forest up at H.J. Andrews Experimental Forest. They themselves climb using single rope techniques up to about 90 feet in the canopy. During the field trip, the children participate in 4 different stations.
The first involves a tree climb where we look at the different layers of the forest. Another is a station about habitats and old-growth forest structures. Another station is about learning the life cycle of a tree and how to identify different tree species in the area. Our last station is about how humans relate to the forest.
Well, quite literally right now we're hanging in a tree. The purpose of this is to both offer students a deeper connection with the tree by granting them a perspective they don't commonly encounter, and also to analyze the differences that can be encountered in old-growth forests, particularly through the layers. And now we're pretty darn close to the canopy as we're going to get.
To be moving around and to be engaging all of your senses really helps with the creative process.
I like the idea of connections between the university, H.J. Andrews, the Pacific Tree Climbing Institute, and our school.
It's fun here because you don't really sit down, you have fun, and you get a lot of exercise. And you learn a lot as well.
My experience with kids is that when they get on rope and they're climbing up into the tree, all their senses all become alive and awake. And when they see something, they actually really look at it, and when they hear something, they're really listening to what it is because they're not used to seeing that. They're not used to hearing that.
It was pretty powerful for me because you can sit 90 feet up in a tree, looking around and looking down at the ground and thinking, oh my gosh, this is really high.
Once I got the hang of it, it was like really cool and fun. But while I was waiting, I had like a mix of emotions. Like I wasn't sure if I was happy, scared, frightened, or anything.
Lots of outdoor adventures are get up, go, and leave. You don't have much time to just sit and think about where you are and taking it all in.
I just liked the peace and quiet. And the feeling of being so high up, but in a tree, having a living organism supporting me 100 feet up in the air, one that was probably hundreds of years old, and looking out onto the rest of the canopy and down at all the tiny things below.
They were teaching us about how the different kinds of trees die and regrow again and about the cycle. We could actually see some of these cycles in action, like so you could see dying trees with new ones growing up beside them.
We found even a rough-skinned newt there, a really tiny rough-skinned newt, and that was really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome because you can like see way out and you can see for miles. You feel like you're a bird in the tree.
I think my favorite part about being up in the trees is going down. You can hear the sound of the river getting quieter and quieter and quieter and quieter and quieter.
There's research showing that children who are having trouble in school, often when they're brought outside into an outdoor learning environment, can focus and can concentrate on their lessons. There's been documented examples of students getting higher test scores and performing better in a traditional school setting once they have more outdoor time.
Being in a classroom is more you're being taught by the teacher and you're sitting down and you're not really doing anything and your mind is engaged but your body is not.
And just sitting all day, it's just not a fun experience. And in doing so, you get so bored that sometimes you don't even listen to what you're learning or supposed to be learning.
Particularly for kids who have trouble in a classroom setting, they feel emotionally and psychologically more tuned and at peace and able to function. Being out in nature is a real life-changing experience for them.
How's your day going?
Great.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Perfect day for climbing.
Children who aren't getting outside are losing out on a lot of things. One, they're losing out on the ability to explore and develop and build their creativity. Two, they're losing out on getting to know their local ecosystem, their bioregion. So to have ecologically literate citizens, our children need to have time outside as well. They need to be able to have that opportunity to play and learn in their natural environments.
It's really nice to be in this environment outside because you're able to engage with the students more because you're grabbing logs and gently lifting them apart to look for organisms in there, and you're encouraging the students to get involved with you. And so it's almost like my energy is more easily relatable with them when we're together in the forest. There was one moment during one of the lessons where I heard a student who was walking behind me on the trail say, "I can't believe so-and-so wasn't here for this today." And it made me proud as a teacher that day. Everything that I've learned in Canopy Connections has sort of wrote something on my heart. Getting them excited and using their hands and using all their senses in the outdoors.
Growing up into an old growth forest is not something you do every day or ever at school, really.
I think other kids should definitely try to do this. And if they're not able to do this, at least get outside and not sit inside with a Game Boy or video game.
If people aren't exposed to nature, and especially children, where they're really open-minded and absorbing everything around them, it really limits people from being able to kind of imagine what's out there in the world. Most extraordinary people that are in whatever field they're in, they can remember one specific time they were really inspired to do that. By us taking the kids up into the trees, it kind of gives the kids an opportunity to see, what kind of potentials there are for getting into the field of, working in the forest and working in the woods and being in nature.
If we could just stay up there all the time, it's just beautiful.